what the feelings come to you when you think about the rejection. When you remember the moment when you was rejected by somebody or when you rejected somebody. Let me guess. Probably it's fear, anxiety, stress, maybe even panic attacks, and also sadness. What else? 100% I promise you that you feel shame and guilt. But why do people have such low feelings associated with the rejection? Why it is perceived being as something very negative? And the answer is because people don't understand what the rejection actually is. So in this video, guys, I will share with you a few reasons why people are afraid of the rejection. It all comes down to the psychology. And also, I will explain more in depth what rejection actually is, so then you can understand and shift your perception, and you will see how much this experience is needed in our life and how well it benefits us if we know what it is and how to work with that. And also why we need it. Few reasons why we need rejection in our life so badly. So if you're interested, keep watching. Welcome back, guys. When it comes to the rejection, here are a few psychological reasons behind why people associate it with very negative feelings, why people perceive the rejection to be being something very not right, not healthy, when actually it's very healthy. So the first reason, of course, it's our childhood. All emotional experience starts in our family. So, for example, when a parent or maybe both of them love a child conditionally, when they don't communicate why a child is not getting their affection, when parents treat a child in the way that, okay, you did something what I didn't like, so I will withdraw my emotions from you, my affection from you, and in this way I will punish you, so you will understand that you shouldn't supposed to act this way. But a child needs explanation why the authority of theirs, like mother or father, is not loving them anymore. And if a parent doesn't explain the reasons of their own behavior, then what happens in child's brain, they try to justify what is happening. The brains of theirs try to find reasons to explain why they feel now as they feel, why they feel rejected, and it doesn't feel good. When somebody doesn't explain why they behave as they behave, then that rejection doesn't feel good. Imagine, you're used to get love, so much love and affection, and suddenly it stops, it cuts, and you don't get it anymore, and without any explanation, and you don't understand why. That's why those overthinking starts. That's why when somebody in adulthood rejects us or what we offer without any clear explanation, when they just ghost, disappear, we are actually re-experiencing the same emotional trauma from our childhood all over again. Our brain repeats the same activity pattern as in the childhood, trying to justify and find explanation for why was I rejected. And if a person is lacking awareness, self-awareness, the reason is always one and the same. It's because of me. Something is wrong with me. I am not enough. So this is the first reason. The second reason is when parents are projecting themselves on the child. In this way, I mean when parent explains to a child the reason why they are punishing a child by withdrawing love and affection. So in this way, a child gets explanation why. But that explanation is a projection of their own emotional traumas and emotional trauma projection on a child. For example, you was lashing out in the shop and you made me feel like a clown among the people. I didn't feel good because of that, and you should never cry in public. That's why now, this day, today, I will not talk with you. I will not show you love. Go off, go to your room. You was bad today, and I don't want to hear anything from you. So this is emotional rejection also. Even though a parent gives explanation, but because of their own projections on a child, their own traumas projecting, it feels very, very negative for a child. Here is important to mention that it doesn't mean that a parent allows the child to act as they want in any given situation. A parent is always the authority to their child, so they should and must set boundaries to the behavior of their child when such is inappropriate. The difference is that it should be done not by reacting to negative feelings of a kiddo, by negative feelings of a parent, and use those as a tool to judge, but rather respond to the emotional expression of a child by taking certain restrictive actions and still let the child know that he or she is loved. Explanations of the responsive actions plus emotional expression of love towards the child is what helps the child to understand the situation and their own behavior. Intention is what matters. To punish a child that a parent didn't feel good in a supermarket because of their kiddo lashing out protesting in public, or to teach a child which behavior of theirs won't be tolerated, plus how to deal with their feelings without getting lost in there. The last reason why we have such a negative perception on the rejection, the last reason that I found, it might be more, but that's what I found. It's epigenetics. Science already proved that we embody, we take over the genes that are created from 14 generations. Imagine 14 generations, our whole ancestral lineage, everything what they experienced emotionally, it was stored in the body, in the cells. All those hormones that design the body to be a physical and emotional body. So if people didn't work on themselves, and for sure they didn't, at least most of the society, they transmitted the same emotional experience through the genes. So how can we change our perception on the rejection and start looking to it as to a positive experience? We need to understand the nature of it. What the rejection actually is. When you are rejecting somebody or something, some situation, it means you are not approving something, you don't validate something. And reverse, when somebody is doing a rejection, it's the same. And now probably you think to yourself like, yeah, Lily, it's nothing new, tell us something new. And the new part is that it's never about the other person that is being rejected, or it's never about the situation that is rejected. It always tells a message about the person who is rejecting. That's why we should never ever feel like we are not good enough, we are not worthy, something is wrong with us. All those feelings of shame and guilt that I'm not enough, it shouldn't even exist. Forget about it. Because the message is not about you if you are rejected. It's always a message about the rejector. So what is that message about the rejector? What does it tell about them? When people reject, they reject what they like or what they don't like. Or in other words, people reject their shadow side or their light side. And probably now I'm messing up with your mind. What is it supposed to mean? If you're only listening this video, start watching. I will explain it in graphics. So, first let's define what the light side is. The light side is equal love, that highest energetic vibration of all. And that's what science already proved. Love holds the highest energetic vibration. So when a person is operating from the space of the heart, from the space of love, of course, they are good towards themselves. They are treating well themselves because they are applying the rule in their life of fly, the rule of fly. First, love yourself because they understand that you can't give to others something what you don't have yourself first, right? So, naturally, a person will embody all the rest beautiful, loving behavior qualities, such as happiness, then trust. Loving person is trusting the process. They are not afraid of opinions of others, of the judgment of others, of rejections. They trust the process and they know who they are and how they are. So outside triggers don't affect them. And they are not afraid to show vulnerability as well. The way they feel, and when it's good feelings, and when it's not so good feelings. So loving person that operates from the space of the light, they are authentic. They are not hiding information about themselves because they understand the value of genuine connection and genuine relating with people. So also it leads to emotional intelligence. In order to be authentic, you need to be emotionally intelligent, not to be afraid of the judgment of others, right? And to know when, how to work with your emotions, what the message each emotion gives and what it tells. So it takes a lot of self-reflection to be emotionally intelligent. And the last, when a person operates from the space of love, they operate on conscious awareness. The same because of those self-reflections. They are always constantly improving their conscious awareness. So now, when we know what the light side is, let's define what the shadow side is. And yeah, I bet you already know that. The shadow side is everything what is opposite to love, everything that is out of love. So when a person is operating from the shadow space, from the shadow side, when they operate from the lack of love, they are bad towards themselves. They don't treat well themselves because they don't apply that rule in their life of fly, first love yourself. And of course, because of that, they will embody all those behavior qualities that feels out of love. Such qualities as sadness. A person who is lacking love, they are sad. Also, they are full of fears. Fears who will say what about them. Fears of opinions of others, of rejection of others. So they are afraid to be themselves because of the environment. So that's why they are not authentic. They are not expressing what they truly want, what they truly like, and how they truly feel. They are not vulnerable with people. So when a person is operating from this space of the shadow, when they are not authentic, first of all within themselves and then with others, and when they are ruled by fears, they have tendency to overthink. And that's the moment when lies, control, and manipulation starts. Because a person will control how much they can open up, how much they can express, how much and what they can show in order not to be judged by others or not to be hurt. So it's lacking emotional intelligence. They are not friendly with their own emotions. They don't know how to express those properly. They suppress rather than express. So this behavior, I would say, is based on subconscious wounds and programs. Also, it's important to mention that the light side love is also intuition. When a person comes from the space of love, from the space of light, they are in tune with their feelings, with how they feel. That's why they are vulnerable with other people, and that's why they are able to sense the energies around them. And they don't allow the mind to block what they know. They don't allow the mind to trick them into believing that it's not the truth what they are feeling. And the shadow side, everything that is out of love, is a mental space. Exactly, our mind. And when we use only our mind, it tricks us, it plays games with us. It tries to tell us that what we are feeling, what we are sensing, is not true. Because the mind will always try to find a logical, rational explanation that is based on 3D. What we see, what we touch, what we hear, and if we feel something different, opposite that what we see, what we encounter, then the mind will block it and will tell us that this is the lie, when basically our feelings is the truth. That's why people who operate from the shadow side, from the side of out of love, from the space of out of love, they have that tendency. Because of their mental space, they have a behavior of withholding information, manipulating other people or situations. Also, all of this is control issues. What mind does, it controls the situation because of all those insecurities about themselves, because of not trusting what they are feeling and not being in tune in their feelings. That's the purpose of the mind when we don't integrate it with our feelings. So now when we know what the light side is and what the shadow side is, let's remember what the rejection actually is. When somebody is rejecting another person or a situation, it means they are rejecting one of these two sides of themselves. Just a question is, which one? So now look how it goes. When somebody rejects the light side of themselves, they reject love. They reject everything that comes from the space of love, from the space of the heart. All those qualities mentioned before, like feelings, vulnerability, intuition, trust, authenticity, emotional intelligence, and consciousness, awareness. So it means they are operating from their shadow, from their subconscious programs and emotional wounds. And now, reversed. When somebody is rejecting their shadow side, they are rejecting everything and anything that doesn't come from the space of love, that is not coming from the space of the heart. So they are rejecting all those qualities as sadness, fears, emotional unavailability, emotional immaturity, unauthenticity, and all of those subconscious programs because they are operating from their light side. They brought awareness on their subconscious programs. They brought those programs out into the light. They see better now. They know better now. So they choose not to operate from the shadow side. That's why they are rejecting their own shadow. Let me give you an example, a very common and popular one. A dynamic of a romantic relationship or a situationship between him and her. Imagine that the woman used to have a pattern always to attract emotionally unavailable and controlling partners or love interests. Why? Because she grew up with emotionally unavailable or absent father in her life. So she was operating from her shadow. She was chasing that emotional approval and validation from her father in another man in her adulthood. Her behavior was based on her subconscious programs and chemical addictions in her body. If you want to know what the emotional addiction is, check my other video called Are You Emotionally Addicted? Now, when we know what the rejection actually is, then other question, why is it so much needed in our life? As I mentioned before, that this experience is so much needed in our life. Yes, how do you think? Why is it needed? Let me help you with this. And I will be very, very blunt. To this question, I want to answer by giving you a question. Tell me honestly, by commenting or answer to yourself, would you really eat a piece of shit if somebody serves you on the golden plate? Would you? I bet no. At least me, I wouldn't do that. At the beginning, when I was immature, yes, I was taking everything what people used to give me, all kind of crap, till I overdosed of that shit, and that's how I learned to set boundaries, to recognize when on the golden plate there is a piece of shit. So I don't need it. So I will reject it. That's the first reason why this experience is so good. Because we reject something what doesn't serve us, what doesn't serve for our highest self, for our well-being. And then another way around, why this experience of rejection is good for those who are serving that golden plate with a piece of shit to others. Why is it good for them to be rejected? Because of introspection and because of going within and because of self-growth and analyzing, like, okay, why I was rejected, what that person actually rejected. If we all know what rejection is, that person who gave a piece of shit to another person, they would do self-reflection, and from that they would start growing and developing themselves, improving themselves, becoming a better version of themselves. So as more people understand what rejection actually is, as more easier it will be to take it, and we would eliminate all these negative feelings out from our, basically from our experience. We would feel less negativity in our life if we know what the rejection actually is. And that was a mission, a reason, and a goal of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in another videos. Ciao.